Hi everybody, and welcome to our webinar where we have a title, Boost Your Virtual Sales. Welcome. My name is Paulus Perkkiö. I'm CEO and founder of Seidat. And today on the agenda we have mostly topics where we go through topics of how to build the winning sales process, the best ways to run virtual meetings, scaling questions, and then we go through some tips and best practices how to avoid key problems. And it's really nice to be here together with you, and whenever you have any questions, please put them to chat. It's live chat is open all the time, so it's really easy to ask any questions there. We are gonna record this meeting session, so if there are any problems and you must go somewhere else, then we will send the recording later to you, and then you can share the recording to your colleagues and whoever you may think that will help from the content we are sharing here. In the early beginning, I recommend also that please follow our social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course YouTube. In those channels, we are gonna tell what's coming next. So it's the easiest way to keep yourself up to date all the time about coming webinars and guides and any kind of new features, what's happening in our business. Yes, once again, welcome, and my name is Paulus Perkkiö. I have founded several companies, and at the moment I'm working as a CEO and founder here in Seidat. I have been working in sales from the time when I was a little kid, but when after my studies I have been working mostly with professional services and software. So the biggest experience, largest experience I have about topics how to sell professional services and software. It's some kind of solution selling, what I have done the whole of my career. So it is the background where these experiences are coming from. Sell more faster and more efficiently by online meetings. This is a good start for this session. Our goal is to go through topics how to boost virtual sales, how to boost your sales results. And during the couple of years, COVID time has been everywhere, and face-to-face meetings has not been, you haven't had opportunity to run them, so all of us have been running virtual meetings. And that's why we don't need to go through why it is important to, I don't need to sell this virtual sales concept to you, but of course it's sometimes good to think about it and think why we still maybe should concentrate in some cases to virtual sales concept, and then we can also discuss in this session where we should use face-to-face concept. Is some kind of combination hybrid concept best for you? And of course, I once again recommend you, whenever you have something what you want to discuss more about, then please send some message in chat channel, because it's I really like to answer those questions. But why to use virtual sales concept still after COVID time, when face-to-face meeting concept is once again possible? There are some reasons for that. You can have more meetings in a day, so it means that you don't need to go from place to place. So I have counted that it's about double of amount of meetings which you can run as a virtual meetings. Typically in our organization, we count that it's possible to have 6 meetings per day. Of course, in every day, it's maybe not recommended, but in some cases, it can be even more. I have had 8 sales meetings in a day. It was quite hard day, but it's still possible to live with that. But if you have face-to-face meetings, I can't recommend anyone to have more than 3 or 2 meetings. Booking of remote meetings is easier, and it's because there are more suitable times in a calendar. And one reason for that is that remote meetings can be held anywhere. So you can be anywhere, but your customer can be anywhere. And when you can be anywhere, it's not place-based meeting. It means that you have more time because you don't need to count any movement time. And if you can organize them easier, then you can get decisions faster, because it's very often very big question how to get all decision makers in a meeting. So that's why I really think that it's much easier to get those decisions. And of course, because your customers can be anywhere, you can sell globally, nearly. Of course, there are language problems maybe, and time zones, but for example, for me, I have now sold to USA, for example, and it was not too big deal. It was quite small, so traveling costs could be if I should go travel to USA, I would never close that deal. Of course, there are also reasons, much softer reasons, like your family and your hobbies and that kind of things, why virtual meetings are really nice. But if you think about sales processes, the title is Seidat the sales process. This is a more common process thinking, what I'm gonna go through, not only about how to use Seidat in sales. But if you think about sales process wise, is there any differences if you have face-to-face meetings, meeting-based concept, virtual meeting-based concept, or some kind of hybrid? I see that the basic process is quite the same in every situation. You must at first have some lead generation part where you get some contact information, then you call or email them and try to generate a meeting. You will have a meeting, maybe some material which you will share after the meeting, and then maybe have several meetings before you have a closing and you signed a contract. And how I see this kind of process is really important if you think how to develop your sales results. You must always think about the process. How do you do that? Typically, we are quite a lot thinking that the basics, the most important part of the sales are those moments of truth, those meetings, those situations when we share the content to salespeople, when we interact with customers. They are moments of truth. They are really important. But at the same time, if we think about this process, we must also think quite a lot what happens when you have here a meeting, what happens before the meeting, because the meeting starts from the first contact point. And then you must think about what happens after the meeting. How do you run your customer from one meeting to second one? I think this whole process is really, really important when you start developing your sales results. But of course, as I say, those moments of truth, they are maybe the situation which you should think more detailed, because if you think about how to impact your sales results, do you believe that you can impact your sales results from your office, or do you get better opportunity to impact those results in those interaction situations? I really believe and recommend you to go really detailed what's happening here in the front line when you interact with your customer. And this is amazing thing, because if you think about, we are discussing all the time with all kind of sales organizations, and it's really typical that they are telling us that, okay, we can't do this and that because we have now project with our CRM. They are working with their back office processes when they should concentrate more here to front line, where they are interacting with their customers. Of course, if the results are not the priority, then it's also, of course, important to concentrate to those processes and back office works. But there are situations and situations. I really recommend concentrate to that interaction part more detailed. In Seidat, we are really interested about building winning sales flow. It's our mission to enable winning sales flows to our customers. And if you think about what is all about winning sales flow, how to create that, we divide it to 3 steps. The first part is the process. What kind of process you have, what kind of process you have developed, what kind of flow you have in that process. Do you have flow in your meetings? Are they starting very well and continuing to top peak and then back again to the end? And then what kind of collaboration flow you have with your team, with your sales team, with sales team, between sales team and marketing team, and between you and your customer. If you have flow in process, you have flow in meetings, you have flow inside your team, I really think that you are gonna do winning sales. And how we also think quite a lot is that when you start developing your sales process, when you are interested to develop your sales results, you must think that not only from development point of view, like engineering process development, but think it like from sales design point of view. My background actually is in industrial design, It's my educational background, and just after my education, I started to do some design, industrial design, designing different kind of products. And when industrial designers are designing products, they are trying to do them distinctive from competitors. They are aiming to go where the quality of all products is uniform. They are designing products for manufacture so that they are easy to manufacture, they are reproducible, and of course they must be cost effective to get enough money out of them. And how I see, we should also think same kind of topics in sales. It's not enough that you have distinctive products and distinctive brand, but you could also have distinctive sales process and way you sell. So I mean whole sales concept. You must have uniform quality. If you or your colleague are selling your products and services, there must be same kind of quality. And if you go from one customer to next one, it must be reproducible. You must have opportunity to use same kind of materials, tools, and processes. And when all of those things happens, I really think that it's very often that it will be also cost effective. And also, as we are thinking quite a lot usability things in product design, you must think about the easiness of buying, the buying experience. If this buying experience is your primary goal, to make it as easy as possible, it makes your sales more easy. It's easy to close deals if your customers are eager to buy. And this kind of design thinking in sales, I think it's not too active, and that's why I really recommend you to think about it more detailed when you are building your sales concepts. And when you build those sales concepts, think the process, think what kind of structures you have in your meetings. Do you have tools and materials which are supporting your sales team to use that process which you have been developed? And whenever you have a good sales concept, I really believe that you will get better results. It's if you have good concept, then it's easier to get those unexperienced salespeople to get results. When you have a good concept, you have better opportunity to meet more customers and interact with them. And when you have common and unified practices and processes, your concept is much easier to duplicate and scale up, to hire more people. And then when you have better opportunity to hire more people, it means that you must have good opportunity to direct and onboard them to get those good results. And if you have a nice sales concept, then that will happen. When we think about virtual sales and face-to-face sales, I always think about this kind of ladders or steps of sales. And this goes from step by step to the end where you close the deal. So at the first, I always think that you must do good preparational work. Then you must have strong starting point in the sales process when you start interacting with your customer. Then you must build trust on certain level to get opportunity to discuss more detailed about the needs which your customer really has. I many often tell a story when one of my colleagues went to one customer and he came back because there was nothing what they would need. That was not true. And what happened was that when he went there, he couldn't be able to build trust on the level where they could start discuss more detailed about the needs, what they have. And this trust, I think it's the most important thing in all kind of sales. If you don't get that trust on certain level, you will not have opportunity to discuss deep enough about the needs. And if you don't understand what kind of needs your customer has, then you don't have any opportunity to build a solution. You can't demonstrate it, you can't make a proposal, and you can't close a deal. Does that make a sense? And that's why I think that it's nice to share some tricks, for example, how to build trust. It's not something what you can switch on. Okay, now I'm trying to build trust and then I can put it off and continue with other topics. Because I think that the trust building is something which starts from the first contact up and to the during the it will be processed during the whole sales cycle, and it's like a never-ending process. And but there are ways how you can some kind of tricks which you can use to build it. And one way is that you can introduce yourself with a personal way. I'm typically, for example, using that kind of phrase that I tell to my customers that my ethnic background is in Sami culture. So my mother has Sami background, and it's really interesting. And when I tell this kind of more secret thing, I tell to my customer, I'm like telling to my customer that I'm trusting him or her so much that I can tell this kind of secret things. But when I tell that, it's easier them to tell some secrets of their business to me. And it's also one easy way to measure this deepness of trust, for example, on that way, that how well you can communicate each other. Is it really interaction? Can you make the other side a little bit laugh, or do you have fun together? If these kind of things are working, especially in Finland, because in Finland we are not too active in speaking and discussing with people, and that's why it's easy to use this kind of ways to measure it. But when you have that trust on good level, then it's easy to jump to next level in those ladders to need discovery. And one trick which we are using in in need discovery part is that we create slides, like this one. And I maybe ask on that slide that, okay, what kind of challenges you have in sales? And at the same time, the person can see those things that, okay, different ways to work, collaboration, consistent sales result, cross sales, and so on. I don't use those words at all. I only ask what kind of challenges you have in sales. And when I use this kind of slides at the same time, I have seen many times that I will get much better answers, and it's easier for them to remember that, okay, actually, I didn't remember, but now I remember that half a year ago, we started to have this and that kind of problems. And it's easy to start discussing how to solve them. Or I can also ask that what kind of challenges you have, for example, with your current sales materials. If you don't have this kind of helping materials, I have seen in, for example, especially in virtual sales, that the discussion is not that easy. But this is one easy way to help to make more deep discussion about those needs which your customer really has. And then if you understand what kind of problems they have, then it's easy to jump to next step where you can demonstrate the solution for your customer. How you can solve the problem, is there any alternative options how to solve it, and what are the advantages, and you can start the basic argumentation. How to present a solution. Typically, we have this kind of concept, what we have recommended to many of our customers, that you can create this kind of 3x3 concept. For example, this is presenting the situation when we are starting to discuss what kind of presentation design project we should have, if there is this kind of situation, of course. And these slides help us to define what is the starting point. Do you have already slides which can be developed only making a little bit some changes in how to tell your story, what kind of structure you should have in your presentation, or adding some images? Is that enough? Or should we update the whole visual identity of the presentation, for example, and the whole structure? Or should we start from the white paper to create totally new content? It's easy to discuss on that level that, okay, I recommend that we should state maybe this design part that, okay, we must update the whole visual identity of the presentation. Then I can say, okay, the price will be 160 euros per slide. Then we can continue to discuss on how many slides we need. Okay, the amount of content is maybe about 40 slides. Then I can tell, okay, the price is something like that, including the presentation design, admin trainings, and all kind of workshops. And whenever you develop your service products this way, it's easy to discuss with your customer and tailor the whole product to so that it's easy to solve, and the customer thinks that, okay, it was tailored for me, it's easy, it was easy to buy. Let's start. So 3 times 3. At first, some questions, and you can choose one option, and then second, easy options, how many or how much or something like that. And totally tailored service product is sold once again. Only question, when will we start? Yes. If you think about these steps and ladders, I also recommend you to think about how you can support your team and yourself in sales meetings to go step by step to starting point to the closing a deal. And what I really recommend is that not only think about the meeting process, but also create a supporting material for that. And I really recommend presentations for that kind of usage. This is the structure, matrix structure, which can be used in Seidat presentations, for example. And here is the starting point, and the end is here in the right side. So you go step by step from here to the end. And this idea of this matrix is that the presentation has here the main level, and then you can go deeper whenever needed. So it means that you can interact with your customer, and whenever they have this need, you go deeper until you have answered all of those questions. For example, I'm using in this webinar this same kind of matrix. So I have here many slides, and I can change those slides easily from this presenter view. And that's the way how I can navigate during this session if I suddenly understand that, okay, your needs are a little bit different, and I must tell a little bit in different kind of order, so I can easily jump from one place to other place. But how to use this kind of structure to support your meetings? We typically create these sales presentations this way, that in this first tag, we use it for introduction. Then comes some kind of need discovery part where we clarify those needs what customer has. Then there is a problem description, what is the common solution part, what is your solution, how you can solve the problem of your customer, why your customer should buy from you, what kind of references you have, what is the process, how the whole onboarding will be done, and what are the next steps. Okay, this can be the content of one meeting, or this can be divided to several meetings. For example, in our business, it's very typical that whenever we meet some sales director, for example, he is maybe alone, and when he understands that, okay, this is something what we must really think about in our team, then we organize a second meeting where the team will join also to the meeting, and then we go more deeply to those topics. And it means that this presentation will be divided to several meetings. But for example, how I'm selling is that I have one presentation which I'm typically using in every sales meeting. and the presentation has about 150 slides. 150 slides is totally big amount of slides, but and it's not idea to use all of them, not even most of them. I'm typically using maybe 20 slides in sales case. Not only in one session, it can include from 2 to 3, 4 meetings. And during those meetings, I use all of those slides, of those 20 or 30 slides. So, but my message is that prepare to those meetings so that you will create this kind of presentation which can support you during the whole meeting, during the whole sales process, and the end result is that your meetings will be like a campfire. I think this campfire idea is how all sales meetings should be run. Because I really like, for example, sitting around the campfire with my family or with my friends or whoever. Because it's an amazing place where you sit around the fire and immediately when you watch it, it's really easy to start discussing about all kinds of topics. And if you think about your presentation, your sales presentation should be like a fire. You put it on the screen, and whenever you watch it, it should help you to start discussing about those needs and solutions, what your customer has and what they need. And whenever your presentation is good enough, it will give some kind of wow impact to your customer. It will support the salesperson. And if it has this kind of matrix structure, what, for example, can be used in Seidat presentations, it helps you to interact with your customers. And think about that. Whenever, for example, because I have this 150 slides sales deck, it means that whatever my customer is asking from me, I can select their slide. New slide, and then next one, and I have always some kind of supporting material to answer. And if you think about that kind of situation when you ask whatever and someone is presenting you immediately good answers to those questions, it means that he has prepared really well to the meeting and he is presenting answers which are developed by their organization. It's not only something what salespeople are telling that, okay, we can solve it, it's easy to do this and that way. But when the real situation comes, it's not that easy anymore. But if you have this kind of system, you build the trust on really high level, and the sales closing the deal is really easy. We have been discussing about virtual sales, how to develop it, how to get better results. There are also challenges. There are also challenges typically. You can put also to chat if you have any kind of challenges. What is the most typical challenge in your sales, in your virtual meetings, for example, or in your virtual sales concept? Because those typical challenges which we have collected from our customers are, for example, technology. Technology doesn't work. Typically, people are using some kind of virtual sales meeting platform like Google Meet, Teams, or Zoom, or whatever, and it's not always working. Especially if your customer is using mobile phone, they maybe don't have an opportunity to join the meeting. There are problems to build trust. There are problems to steering emotions. There are problems to get positive decisions. And if we think about those things, I really recommend you to think about for example, your technological solutions. If you are thinking what is really needed is that your voice is, you must move that from one place to other, and you need maybe some visualization, so you need this opportunity to share your presentation. You don't need to have screen sharing option in typical situations. For example, in Seidat, you can share this presentation. I can, for example, show you, actually, sorry, I copied the address, and if you open that address from the chat, and whenever I start changing the slides, the slide will be changed on your side. So we can use only mobile phone, and then share the link to the presentation via email, SMS, or whatever. And then you have good opportunity to present your ideas, go deeply to those needs, what your customer has, and so on. If we think how to then, I said that this kind of sales design thinking is the way how to develop this kind of processes and sales concepts. But where and how you should start that development? How to start? Start from going through once again what kind of products and services and ideas you are selling. What you are selling? Sometimes it's easy to say that, okay, I'm selling this and that product, but are you really selling the product or adding some value to your customers? Is it a solution or product? And when you go deeply to this thinking, it's not that easy anymore. But when you are ready with that, then it's time to start developing the whole concept and go through with your team, what is your current way of doing things, sales. Set up new goals, develop some kind of manuscript, how you really want to run the whole process, how do you want to run those interaction sessions when you meet your customers. When you have a process, then you have good opportunity to develop supporting materials. For example, presentations. I really recommend to use presentations not only in the meetings, but how we really recommend using presentations also before the meetings and after the meetings. We use, for example, so that we can send you after this meeting a virtual sales guide. It's done in Seidat. You can order it also from our website. Then we try to organize this meeting. We'll send some introduction material. It's a presentation once again, which can be opened with any device. We will have a meeting where we use our sales deck. After the meeting, we will send some sponsor letter where we have most important notes from the meeting, and we explain our concept to our customer. we create a proposal using our presentation platform, and then we use our e-signature features to create a contract. So presentations can be used in several steps of this process for supporting the salespeople. And when you have created those contents, then you must train your team. And when the whole process has been implemented to your sales team, then it's time to start from early beginning, developing it once again. You will start getting feedback, and then it's important to make some changes. And in that kind of situations, once again, it's really important that you have a flexible technology which support you to make those changes. For example, if you use Seidat, we have this kind of, we call them smart slides, which helps you to update all content what your team have by one click. For example, it's easy example that if you have a slide where you explain how big business you are doing, what is your turnover, how many people you have, update that slide in one place, and it will be updated to every presentation which has been created, even those presentations which has been shared to your customers, which has been embedded maybe to your website or to some other platforms. And yes, those tools are really important, that you have right tools. And of course, when you think about should you prioritize virtual sales concept or face-to-face sales, do not think that it's one or other. You can make a hybrid model. In our business, we have decided that we try to avoid all kind of face-to-face meetings because it's too expensive. It's much more faster, and the expenses are lower when we run virtual meetings. But when you have a proper content which is supporting the whole meetings, then you will get as good results as you have in face-to-face sales. I would also say that if you think about still that, is it really so that we should develop presentations? I see that all kind of slide decks, they are really good framework for your concepts. It's a really good tool for your salespeople, because all kind of this kind of digital materials, they are really easy to keep all the time up to date, and it's something which is always with you if you have mobile device, for example. And why also presentations are so handy and effective is the reason that it's typically visual content, and there are many kind of researches done, and what they say, there are different kind of results, but the basic idea is same every time. If you are only using your voice in the meetings, you call by phone, it means that the person who is receiving your message will get about 10% what you have told for him. if you have opportunity to use, for example, some text with your speech, then the audience will get maybe 20% of your message. But whenever you can use visual content in your presentation, in your sales meeting, which is supporting what you have tried to tell them, your customer will understand even 80% of your message. From 10 to 80, it's really big leap. And I many times have heard from really experienced salespeople that they don't need any presentations. I don't need either, but because I will make better results, that's why I'm using them. And this is one big reason to use presentation. It's one big reason why you should think about that if you should develop your sales concept based on presentations. But you must also think that there are many kind of presentations. If you have used company presentation, if you have used product presentation in sales meeting, stop that immediately and create sales presentation. It's totally other topic. And if you have those sales presentations, then you will start getting better results. If you don't know how to do that, then you can contact us. You please go only to our website. On our website, you will see there our calendars from contact page. Each of our salespeople has calendar there. Schedule a meeting, and then it's good opportunity to continue discussions, because we can support you not only delivering our application Seidat platform for usage, but we can also develop your sales content together with you, creating new presentations, consulting, and sharing our experiences, what kind of best practices there are, and finally developing those presentations and training your people. In the end, it's also interesting to tell what is Seidat all about. Our mission, as I said earlier, is that enable winning sales flows. And for that purpose, we have created this Seidat sales presentation platform. In this platform, which I'm all the time in this webinar using, you can create your sales materials, you can present them, you can share, you can analyze how your customers are opening those shared presentations, and there are e-signature options, and of course the whole collaboration between your team members will happen inside this platform. You can use this platform with any device, with Mac, with Windows laptops, with your mobile devices, with tablets. All devices which has browser can be used, even Teslas. So it's one cloud-based platform where you have all your sales content in one place. You have always access to that. So whenever you have all sales deck, proposals, marketing materials in one place, it's really straightforward way to work in your team. One really nice feature what we have is notifications. For example, my colleague Heikki told me just in the beginning of this week that now he got a notification and that notification came from one of our potential customers because he has been selling them something about 6 months ago, and he has shared some content for them, and then he clicked on the notifications, and whenever the customer now again opened the content, he got a notification in email, and he could have a nice opportunity to call them, and they were really happy. Okay, yeah, you are calling to me. I know because I was watching the presentation, and we have been discussing this topic once again, and we must have a meeting and discuss that with more detailed with our team. And they organized a meeting, and we are sure that the deal will be closed. Our platform is also really interesting because there are many integrations. We have direct integrations to CRMs, we have Zapier integration, we have direct integration to marketing analytics tools. So all kind of analytics tools, all kind of CRMs can be integrated directly to Seidat. There are also many marketing technologies like Lido, Trustmari, which can be embedded to our slides. And when you open the presentation, which has been done in Seidat, you can track, set up there also, for example, remarketing pixels. So it is really effective tool for marketing purposes. We have many customers at the moment, actually in 12 countries. We must update that, but many kind of industries are using. There are many white collar businesses, IT, accounting, financing. There are building industry, manufacturing industry. Many kind of industries are using our platform. So I really recommend you to check that, to check how many kind of content options there are, how you can upload videos to your presentations, how you can use your websites as an embedded content. Like this is our website. It's really live, in live mode there, and all this kind of three-dimensional images can be also embedded there, and calculators like this one. Many options, and yes, it has been really nice to be here. If you have still some questions, I'm ready for answering them, but otherwise I really recommend you to sign up to our next webinars, for example, to Seidat at Pipedrive integrations. We will publish that next week, so really, you are really welcome there. And once again, please follow our social media channels. LinkedIn and Instagram are the most active ones, so at least those you should start following. Yes, it's time is 17, so it's time to stop this wonderful session. I thank you. I hope that you will make better sales results this autumn than ever before, and you will hit your sales goals and records. And if you need any help, please contact us. We are here only because we want to help you. So thank you. Have a nice evening. and see you in some meeting. Thank you and bye.